Most people believe emotions are something that happen to them. Anger rises, anxiety appears, sadness takes hold, and they assume they are powerless in the face of it. The Stoics saw emotions very differently. They did not deny emotions, suppress them, or pretend they didn't exist. They understood where emotions come from, and because of that, they learned how to master them. At the heart of Stoic emotional control is a simple insight. Emotions do not come from events themselves. They come from the judgments we make about those events. Two people can experience the same situation and feel completely different emotions. One feels calm, the other feels overwhelmed. The difference is not the event, it is the interpretation. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that if you are distressed by anything external, the distress does not come from the thing itself, but from the meaning you assign to it. This realization is powerful because it returns control to you. If emotions were caused directly by events, you would truly be helpless. But if emotions are caused by judgments, then they can be examined, questioned, and changed. The Stoic does not try to eliminate emotion, they try to correct faulty thinking at its source. When an emotion arises, the Stoic does not immediately act on it, they pause. This pause is where mastery begins. Between the stimulus and the response, there is a moment of choice. Most people skip this moment. They react automatically, driven by habit and impulse. The Stoic trains themselves to notice the first impression and withhold judgment. They ask whether the story forming in their mind is accurate, necessary, or useful. Anger is a clear example. Anger often feels justified. Someone disrespects you, interrupts you, or treats you unfairly, and anger appears instantly. The Stoic response is not to deny the feeling, but to question it. Was this truly an insult, or was it a misunderstanding? Did this action actually harm my character, or only my ego? By slowing down and examining the impression, anger often loses its intensity before it takes control. Fear and anxiety work the same way. Anxiety is not about what is happening now, it is about imagined futures. The Stoics understood that most fear comes from anticipating outcomes that may never occur. Epictetus taught that suffering comes not from events, but from expecting things to happen differently than they do. When anxiety arises, the Stoic asks what is actually happening in this moment. Usually they find that the present is manageable. The fear exists only in thought. Stoicism also teaches a strict boundary between what you control and what you do not. This boundary is essential for emotional stability. You control your judgments, choices, and actions. You do not control other people's behavior, opinions, or outcomes. Emotional turmoil often comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. The Stoic releases this struggle. When something is outside their control, they refuse to attach their emotional well-being to it. This is not indifference, it is clarity. Another key part of Stoic emotional mastery is learning to accept discomfort without resistance. Many emotions become overwhelming not because they are intense, but because we fight them. We tell ourselves we should not feel this way. We demand that discomfort disappear. This resistance amplifies suffering. The Stoic allows emotions to exist without panic. They observe them like weather passing through the mind. By not feeding the emotion with judgment and resistance, it naturally weakens. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of perspective. What feels catastrophic in the moment often looks trivial with distance. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself how small individual problems are when viewed against the vastness of time and the universe. This is not meant to minimize pain, but to restore proportion. When emotions feel overwhelming, the Stoic zooms out. They remember that this moment is temporary, that countless others have faced similar struggles, and that life continues. Another aspect of emotional mastery is detachment from external validation. Many emotions are triggered by how we think others see us.
Embarrassment, shame, jealousy, and insecurity often come from placing too much value on opinion. The Stoics warned that depending on praise or approval makes you emotionally fragile. If your self-worth depends on others, your emotions are at their mercy. The Stoic builds self-respect based on character and values, not external applause. Stoicism also reshapes how you relate to loss. Loss is inevitable. Relationships end, opportunities pass, and circumstances change. The Stoics did not pretend otherwise. Instead, they practiced preparing for loss mentally so that when it arrived, it did not shatter them. This does not remove grief, but it prevents despair. When you accept impermanence, emotions soften. You appreciate what you have without clinging to it. Another essential practice is replacing blame with responsibility. Blame fuels resentment, bitterness, and anger. Responsibility restores calm and agency. When something goes wrong, the Stoic does not ask who is at fault. They ask what response aligns with reason and virtue. This shift immediately reduces emotional chaos. You move from reaction to action. Stoicism also teaches emotional discipline through daily habits. Reflection, journaling, and mental rehearsal were common Stoic practices. By reviewing the day, noticing emotional reactions, and examining where judgment went wrong, the Stoic strengthens emotional awareness. Over time, this creates a calmer baseline. Emotions still arise, but they no longer hijack behavior. Importantly, Stoic emotional mastery does not mean becoming cold or detached from humanity. The Stoics valued compassion, justice, and empathy. Emotional mastery means feeling without being ruled by feeling. You can experience sadness without collapsing into despair. You can feel anger without acting destructively. You can feel fear without freezing. One of the most powerful Stoic ideas is that no one can harm your character without your consent. External events can inconvenience you, insult you, or challenge you, but they cannot take away your integrity, wisdom, or values unless you surrender them. When this belief is internalized, emotional reactions lose their sharpness. You stop taking things personally. You stop seeing every challenge as a threat. Over time, Stoic practice creates emotional resilience. You become harder to provoke, slower to anger, and quicker to regain balance. Life still presents challenges, but they no longer control you. You respond deliberately instead of reacting impulsively. The Stoic way to master emotions is not about suppression or denial. It is about understanding. It is about training the mind to see clearly, judge accurately, and act wisely. Emotions are no longer enemies to fight or forces to obey. They become signals to interpret and experiences to navigate with reason. This mastery does not happen overnight. It is built through repetition, patience, and self-honesty. But as it develops, something shifts. You feel calmer under pressure, less reactive to provocation, more grounded in uncertainty. Life does not become easier, but you become steadier. And that steadiness is true freedom.